Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the EnteR ChazmaN podcast, where, as always, this is your favorite place to hear some of the nerdy video game news that has kind of caught the attention of me and my buddies. As always, on screen, we have some audio locations for you if you'd like to check us out there. Love to hear any questions or anything, comments you might have for anything we might be talking about. And yeah, these are my buddies, Phoenix and MetalGamer. What's going on, guys? You're out of the basement and attic. How's that feel?
Hey, I've gotten out like twice this week. We just did this like 2 days ago, so a little bit of deja vu.
I'm being nice. I'm in a good mood.
So benevolent. Yeah. Things are good, especially now that I am no longer the OBS master. I've relinquished my streaming duties to Master Chaz over there. So if anything sucks, it is now wholly on his shoulders. So be sure to give him all the crap that you can.
No longer the. Am I still the Padawan? I can't be a Padawan if I've learned everything.
You're a Jedi apprentice at best. So
I don't want to be Annie.
No, Annie.
No, Annie. So yeah, just to kind of briefly go through. I did talk to Gamer. He didn't say anything. How have you been, Gamer?
I've been okay. I mean, I've been stuck in the attic for quite some time. It's been kind of lonely, I draw, little stick figures on the walls, and I talk to myself.
Like the Rat Man.
Yeah, like the Rat Man.
We should have had our friend Blitzkrieg in there. What happened to him? He wasn't entertaining you?
He's still trapped in the air ducts? What's his lore again? I don't know.
I don't know. He's still there. He didn't show up for this week.
Oh well, we'll probably find him dead behind like the garbage can or something. Oh man, well, let's hope not.
Okay, so just briefly, just to go through some of the topics that we have for you guys today, we have a couple games each that we're going to talk about. As always, we're going to get into our highlights from the Horde. There is a little bit of a twist that we added to highlights of the Horde, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Quite a twist. We have quite a few interesting speedrun news topics for you guys, and as always, we're going to continue on through our run of the HBO's Last of Us. So we're going to go through that. Previous episode, I got to play the game Marvel Snap, and I kind of surprised that on the guys. And it sounds as though Phoenix has kind of gotten ensnared in my trap.
Slowly ruining my life. Like every chance I get, I'm like, I can sneak a quick game in here. So, yeah, that's a problem now.
For your traps, nope.
I don't know what. Like when you first mentioned it, I was like, I'm not gonna bother. And I think Kyle or Blitzkrieg had mentioned that he was starting to play it.
Yeah.
I'm like, fine, I'll give it a shot. And then sure enough, sucked into it. And I usually don't get caught in a card game, so I don't know what the issue is here. But yeah, it's a problem.
Well, like I said, it hit me perfectly coming off of Vampire Survivors, where like, I'm not normally huge into mobile games, but if one hits me right, hits me right in the feel, sometimes I can get ensnared. And I don't know, like, I'm not mobile games, but I'm very much into card games, so I'm not surprised I got hooked. It sounds like you're the one that's less card games, cause I have my Yu-Gi-Oh background.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of Yu-Gi back in the day, and a little bit of Pokemon TCG. I think what probably helped kind of suck me into this, like, I was playing through, Persona 4 just a little bit, and I think that had kind of hit me in a weird spot. I think I was a little disappointed that it was so similar to 5. And then it started to feel a little daunting too, because those games run for like half your lifetime. So then when I tried Snap, and it's like 2 minutes to play a match. I'm like, well, that's kind of nice. Of course, I've spent more time playing that than I have Persona probably combined right now. So, oh well.
Well, I told you that's what I love coming off of Vampire Survivors, is that the session time is like so much shorter. Whereas Vampire Survivors, half hour is about as long as you go there, but. I don't know.
What rank are you at right now? Just out of curiosity.
Rank. I think I've lost quite a bit. I was at 32 or 33. I think I'm at like 27 right now. I've been in a bit of a down slope as of late.
What's been like your go-to deck archetype, or are you just kind of still working with that kind of hodgepodge deck you started with?
A little bit. I mean, I have been mixing in some of the other cards, like Hobgoblin. I mixed in the Dino one.
Devil Dinosaur, yeah.
Scarlet Witch has become kind of a nice one to have. I haven't really been utilized. I know everyone's using, White Witch, Apocalypse, doing that with Enchantress, all that good stuff. I mean, I did land Sunspot. I have been trying to figure out how to utilize him in the proper way.
He's really good. So what I've been doing, my go-to deck has been a Devil Dino run for the most part. So if everything goes well, it's you boost up your deck as much as you possibly can, and then drop Dino at the end, and you can pretty much take any lane you want. But as my backup for that, in case like the right cards don't show up, I've got Sunspot and was it Infinite. So what you do is you drop Sunspot early, and then if you realize things aren't going to play out well for the Devil Dino, the way Infinite works, have you seen Infinite yet?
I probably have. It's not ringing a bell though.
So I mean, he's a 6-cost card, but he has 20 power, so he's pretty beefy. Just drop him on the board. The catch is you can't play him if you played something the previous turn. It's like if I play something on 5, I can't drop him on 6. But the catch is if you got Sunspot sitting somewhere, you just skip turn 5, and Sunspot automatically gets an extra 5 points. It's almost as good as playing a decent card, and then you drop Infinite. Like if you realize that you're the main route for Devil Dino is not going to work well, just leave Sunspot out there, skip a few turns, let him build up, and then drop Infinite on a different lane, and you can just about take it just with those 2 cards.
And I have added like Agent 13 is one of my ones, so like trying to get a card that I need or something. I like playing her early.
I've started using Cable a lot. Kind
really?
of for that same...
I've seen a lot of people using Cable and the Wolverine.
The nice thing,
freaking
like, do you know how Cable's different than some of the other draw cards?
Not really.
He pulls from your opponent's deck. He takes one of their cards away. So a lot of times I'll steal, like, say you were running, I don't know, a Hulk deck or whatever. I could steal your Hulk, and you'd have no idea. I think that actually happened to us when we were playing our little mini tourney. I stole Hulk from you on, like, round 2, and you had no idea. So then I knew that wasn't coming to bite me in the butt later on, then I could use it. So Cable's pretty handy if you can get him early on.
Interesting. So what about Gamer? Are you still disinterested? Our excitement hasn't...
I do like card games. I haven't played a card game since... Yu-Gi-Oh! Pretty much. I used to have like the big old decks and stuff. It's been a long time actually.
I will say you don't have to be a Marvel fan. Like I think some people have been turned off because it's Marvel and they're like, oh, I'm tired of Marvel. That's just just the theming of it. Even if you don't care about Marvel, I think you'll still have fun with this game because it uses a lot of off the wall like unknown characters I'd never even heard of. I knew nothing about like Blue Marvel and stuff like that, and they end up being like main rotations in your game after a while.
I'll give it a shot when I can get memory on my phone.
You can also play on your PC. They do have it on Steam.
We played it on Steam too as well. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I didn't know how much you had to say. I just added this because I figured you would want to at least put out your 2 cents as to how you were digging it. Because it was just me last time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying. I mean, I know you had some critiques recently. I'm curious, like, are you still like not happy with the retreat mechanic, or were you kind of landing on that?
I've kind of come around a little bit on it because I'm starting to kind of see the intricacies of like the retreat mechanic is very heavily. I think it's good to have simply because of the cube mechanic. Like those kind of offset each other. You know what I mean? Where it's like you can either go big or you can back out. And depending on how confident you are, I get it. Is all I'm saying. Okay,
yeah. I know at first you're like, man, I hate it. And it's probably because I think you were still at that time when you were like still winning the majority of matches. Like
very much
those first like 10 to 20 levels. Like if you're getting the gist of the game, you can kind of steamroll those. So I'm sure if you were getting retreats on those, that was probably a little frustrating. But man, I am so glad that's a mechanic now that I'm like in the upper levels, because if I had to be forced to go all in like every single time, I'd never progress. I'd probably be like dropping 10 levels every day. So
and also like I do very much think that, like you were saying, me being more often than not winning was causing me not to go through the cards in my deck and not alter certain strategies, and definitely wanting to avoid losing now all of a sudden is making me like, all right, I gotta
reevaluate cards.
Yeah, a little bit. The one thing I will say though is every game has its metas and everything. You very much are at the point I'm at. You very much see what is the meta, what is the stuff everyone has, and the cards we mentioned is like the stuff everybody is basically using. Like sometimes I'll see somebody mix it up, but
there's 3 main archetypes I think I see. The Devil Dino one I think is one of the biggest ones. Have you seen the Zoo deck, where it's basically they throw a whole bunch of 1-point cards out there, and at the end they drop, was it Khazar and Blue Marvel, and it doubles everybody up?
Really? I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, that was the one who got me from like level like 20 up to like 50. You throw as many one cost cards as you can across the board, and then you drop Khazar, which gives all 1 point cards 1 extra power. You drop Blue Marvel, which gives everybody 1 power, and then if you can pair it up with Onslaught, it doubles both of them. So like every cost card you have ends up being like 5 or 6 power by the time it's done. So it just kind of sneaks up on you. So that's a big one. And the other one is like the discard Apocalypse deck, which is personally my favorite. But when you get to like pool 2, it loses a little bit of power unless you have very particular cards like Mobius and Swarm. So I'm still waiting on a couple of those. But I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I'll stop enjoying it at a certain point. Like I'm getting towards the end of pool 2. And after that, I know it's a real like trudge to kind of get through the pool 3 cards, because like they start happening kind of randomly, and then like you have to go a long time before you get them. I don't think they're guarantees at a certain point too. You just got to keep on playing.
I did notice once you get into the 500s too, there's like you stop winning individual cards and you start winning, what is it, like a pile or it's like
they're like
reward?
Little chests which can have new cards in it, like that. That's where it gets a little weird. Like I may not fully understand it yet. There's 3 main pools of cards, which I think are mostly guarantees. And then after you get through those pool 3s, they have like Series 4 and Series 5 cards, which don't count as part of the pool, and they're just random. So then those extra cards you get in those unlockable chests if you just keep on playing, potentially. But you also get like money and like, cosmetics and variants and stuff like that. So it starts taking a long time to get the cards you want. But I'm not that far yet. So for right now, I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm enjoying it. I don't know. Like, I don't think I'm going to move on anytime soon because I don't have another mobile game to play around with. It's so... I don't know.
Well, the nice thing is it's got a lot of strategy to it. It keeps evolving the decks on you, so it's not like you get too stagnant for too long. So it's definitely got some legs to it. I'm sure there's a point where you get, all the cards, a majority of them, and then you start feeling a little tapped out. But yeah, I think it's going to be in my regular repertoire for a while, at least my rotation.
I would also like to see, I think we talked about it and you mentioned it that they have been doing it, is, obviously supporting the game long term, and I would like to see a deck drop or something at some point. I would actually like to see that maybe.
You just did.
You did?
They just updated like 2 days ago, and you got a couple of new cards. They moved some cards down to different tiers so they're more accessible. Like they're updating it all the time.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know what cards they were.
Like I don't think they're dropping like a whole deck's worth of cards, but like I don't know if it's monthly or however long they do it, but they just dropped it's all Ant-Man themed right now, so it's Stature, which is basically Ant-Man's daughter, one of her personas. So they just dropped her card. They just updated a bunch of cards, different behaviors, cards that used to be really exclusive, they now moved into the lower pool so they're more accessible. So they're doing stuff with the game, it seems pretty consistently. Have you spent any money on the game yet?
Nope. I've been tempted, have not spent any money on it.
I bought the season pass.
Ooh, how much is that?
The only reason, it's 10. It wasn't anything major. And the only reason I did it was the card, which at first I wasn't going to get, but MODOK is like the big selling card there. He's really good in the Apocalypse deck, which is like my favorite one to play. So I'm like, I'm playing it enough. It was worth it. So I grabbed that.
Interesting.
Plus, I'm a shill. So
I was going to say, how dare you?
Yeah, I'm part of the problem, Chaz. What can I say?
Indeed. That's all I got to say. There's not really a heck of a whole lot. Maybe we can come back and talk about this game if there's anything, I don't know, new later on. But
I think, I don't know if there'll be any major things. What I think I'd like to see, we kind of started it. We should do more little streaming tourneys or whatnot. Like, if we can get Metal and Blitz on board, great, but I thought it was cool just popping on, just battling you for a little bit, and you got some audience engagement, which I thought was pretty cool. I know you didn't see it, Metal, but some random dude popped into the chat and actually got into his game, and they were fighting together. So it was pretty neat. So
pretty fun.
It's pretty awesome.
Maybe that's your niche. You got to be a snap streamer. I'm telling you, it's hot right now.
We'll see. Start
dressing up like different superheroes every time. That can be your stick, and then you have to build a deck around whatever character you dress up as. I'll tell you, that's how you get popular. It doesn't have to be a good idea. It just has to be an idea. You just got to go all in with it. So, Chaz, that's it. That's going to be a $1 million idea. Save me $5.
I'll do that then.
All right, you heard it here, guys. He's committed to it. So anybody in the chat who heard that, give him heck until he commits to it.
All right. So yeah, so we're
All
gonna
right.
move on to what was it? What was your game, gamer? What was it?
I played a game called Chain Echoes. I'm still going through it because that's like a 35-hour game.
Really?
So like yeah, according to Microsoft Xbox.
Let me see if I
Game
can pull up
Pass,
some
and,
B-roll. Or keep going.
so yeah, it's an old school 16-bit RPG. One of my friends turned me on to it. He said that I should give it a shot, and I was like, yeah, why the heck not? It was on Game Pass. I saw it on Game Pass. Usually, I think on Steam it's $20, and I would say within the first 10 minutes, I think I died. I died in the game, and I was like, why? And it's because it has a mechanic. Okay, so this is a turn-based.
That's the wrong game, Chaz. That's correct.
It's a trailer commercial.
It's a beautiful. First off, I gotta say it's a beautiful game and it has wonderful music. The sprites are slick and clean. It reminds me of Chrono Trigger, type style. Just not like Chrono Trigger is a little dirty, because of the sprites. This is like super clean. So all the lines are clean, the movements are clean, the menu's slick. The UI looks pretty, and what I like about it so far from what I've played, there's a mechanic. It's a pretty simple mechanic of just attack, special attacks, etc. But there's a specific mechanic, and the reason why I died was because there's a mechanic called overdrive. And overdrive, it's like a mode. So you have your characters, and there is a yellow part of the bar, a green part of the bar, and then a red part of the bar. The yellow part of the bar is neutral, like normal. You fight, and the enemies hit you normally. When you are in overdrive, it turns green. That means that your party is all on like synced up, and all the attacks you get are reduced. All of your tech points that you use to attack are usually I think they're cut in half or something like that. And when you go into red, you take more damage, and yeah, you just take a lot more damage. So the idea is to stay within the green bar at all times. So what ends up happening is there is the weird mechanic about it, and that's not even the weird part. The weird part is there is a little icon on the left side, and for X amount of turns, if you're in the red and the green, there's special moves that you can use to be able to go down bar. As you attack, if you attack normally and you disregard that, your bar goes up automatically. Every time you get hit, your bar goes up automatically. Every time you use your special attacks, the bar goes up automatically. Defend is one of the only ways to bring it down, and you have to use a special move that it says to use in order to bring it down. So if it's like a carrot icon, just to kind of throw an idea. If it's a carrot icon, if one of your characters has a carrot icon in his special moves, you use that special move to bring it down.
Okay.
And so
it's trying to basically just adjust like your playing style, so you can't just like be all attack or all offense all the time. It's forcing you to balance it a little bit. So either you go all in, hope you can kill him quick without going into the red, or you've got to kind of have a very varied or level playing style.
So that's why I died, because I went all in and I didn't realize it, and I didn't know how to bring it down. And I was like, what in the heck is going on here? And then I died. I was like,
Chaz knows how to bring it down.
Giggity. And that's all the time. But yeah, so far I'm like 2 hours in. The story is getting engaging. In the beginning, it's like, it reminds me of like if you've played, at least to me, if you play Xenogears in the beginning, it's like nice and happy, and everything goes to hell.
Are those the games that are like $120 each?
What's up?
Well, there's only one Xenogears.
I thought there was multiple.
Not Xenosaga, not Xenoblade.
But
Xenogears.
that's the PS2, like
one.
$120 $100 game or something.
Is it really 100?
Probably.
I think it's gone up. Yeah.
Hell yeah, I got that game. Anyway, so like, yeah, I find it to be very interesting. If you like those kind of turn-based, it's fun playing turn-based again. I haven't played a turn-based game in a while, and I can't say Final Fantasy VII is a turn-based game because the old version is, one is not. So it's like, okay, well, they you know, I can't say there is. So it's kind of nice to go back a little bit. I kind of miss it. So
there's a nostalgia to it for sure.
There is, and it's like a, what do they call it? A breath of fresh air. Because it's like it's new, but it's not really new. But the story...
Feels like a lot of games are going that route though too, like that, just retro inspired, whatever it may be, but like sprite art or pixel art, and then, you know, turn based. We got Octopath Traveler. Was it some Deoxys Chronicles? I don't know. It was I don't know whatever it was. Something Dio something Chronicles. I don't know, but they've had like 3 or 4 games that have all kind of hit that niche. There's even that one we were looking at, the it was from the Switch preview, the sailing one.
That one was called Star something. It was like fall.
Sailing of Stars.
Sea of Stars. Yeah, Sea of Stars.
Yeah, I downloaded the demo.
Did you? Have you played it yet?
Not yet. I want to play it though.
Okay.
Like, I really do. It just looks
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the B-roll looked pretty cool in that. I mean, the art style looked neat. I mean, I saw what you're talking about with the little gauge and kind of how you have to balance it out. So, very cool.
Yeah, I think there's going to be more to it. I know there's, like, other stuff. I just need to keep playing it because I know that's going to be a long game. So.
Yeah.
But it's fun. If you want to, like... And there's autosave and stuff, so... If you want to, you know, load off and not have to worry about it, you're good. So it's like, alright, cool, I don't feel so bad. It's free on Xbox right now, so you can download it and play it.
Oh, okay.
Xbox Game Pass, so you can get it. If you want to support the developer, $20. Steam. I think if I like it enough, I think I might just support it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
You see how seamless that B-roll was added in there?
So seamless. Except for those first few minutes where you had to go to YouTube and we got to watch the whole process of you typing in.
Well, because he added it last second.
Yeah, but never mind.
Oh, you said I could have panned away?
Very seamless, Chaz. Very seamless. I'm going to be kind.
Listen, as long as the audience is happy, I'm sure they're loving.
All one of them.
You see how the sausage is made? What are you talking about?
Whoa. So we're ready to move on.
All right.
Get away from Chaz's sausage as quick as we can.
All right, so we're going to move on to our highlights from the Horde category, which is what we, I don't know, I always look kind of forward to seeing what everyone's going to kind of show the group. We did decide lately that we wanted to kind of come up with a theme per episode to kind of, I don't know, what makes, kind of, because I think our argument is that we're starting to run out of stuff.
Yeah. So, we all have a lot of stuff, but I didn't want to, go to the wall and to be like, here's a game. It's nice if there's some kind of context to it. So I think the thought was, pick a theme or a genre or something that at least all of our items kind of tied to, and then we can be a little more focused on the items that we choose. So. And then Chaz had a inspired choice for genre.
I did. I'll actually show my selection just so we all see. Just because I didn't have anything else. But if you guys don't know, tomorrow is the 20th anniversary for the North American release of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on the GameCube, which I remember growing up, Phoenix used to always say this was his favorite game. But I think you've said Skyward Sword is now your favorite. I think you've kind of gone back and forth.
Yeah, and it's a very unpopular opinion. But, I tell you, playing back through Skyward Sword recently for the HD remake definitely took off some of the rose-tinted glasses a little bit.
I really enjoyed
the dungeons.
I think
everyone are so good.
Everyone enjoyed my playthrough.
Oh, it hurt. It hurt so bad. Watching you puzzle through a Zelda game is like you trying to play Elden Ring. Like it hurt me watching it. But anyway, yeah. So that's cool. So you said 20th years? Man,
it came out March 23rd of 2003. In America, it had it came out months prior in the previous year in Japan.
Was it really 2003? I feel like it'd be.
Yeah.
I guess that's
actually,
right.
March 23rd. I looked it up. Yeah.
Not so old. But
I feel old. I feel like it was even longer ago though. But
I'll tell you, my brother used to make fun of me because he was like, "Hey, what's wrong with you playing with little boys?" And it's true because you're playing the game and you're playing as a boy, and it's crazy because I played the heck out of that game so much, and he used to watch me play. He goes, "Why you keep sailing everywhere?" I'm like, because that's what this game is about. It's like you're sailing all over the place.
I tell you, this is a little nerdy, but I really loved because it was when we were working on some project, and I was like doing a lot of research on like the cell shaded kind of like modeling techniques and stuff like that for a little project we're working on. And when I learned how they did the sailing, they don't actually move the boat. They move the world. The boat stays at the exact same position in the game engine, and the world or the sea just kind of rotates and moves the map around you. I thought that was just a really interesting way, kind of keep the whole map kind of localized and just drag it to where it needs to be. So I don't know. I love Wind Waker for a lot of reasons. And I mean, this is not a new opinion by any means, but they chose the best possible art style they could have for that game. Because 20 years later. Like, I know we just got the HD remake a few years ago, but we didn't even need that. Like, the original game held up. Like, I played the original game on an emulator, like, on my PC not too long ago, and it was glorious. I had to span across 3 screens, run across the island, doing the sailing. Good times.
Did everything freeze up on the sides?
No.
No, did it?
So there is like a certain
like the bounding boxes?
The boxes were good, all this stuff loaded, but I think it was like as I got to like the last maybe quarter of my side screens, animations would stop. So like characters would be walking, then just be like,
that's how
they move again.
They conserve resources.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. It wasn't enough to be overly jarring, but it was cool.
That's so cool, man. I remember playing Grain of Time like that. Everything froze. They use that same technique for that.
Yeah,
and it works out great.
I really enjoyed my Wind Waker. I never finished that game. Again, I played it at a time when I was bad at finishing games, and I probably got like halfway through and just didn't push on.
Were you playing the HD remake or the original?
I think I was playing the original. Playing it on a GameCube.
I know the nice thing about the HD remake is they did. What's a good way to say this? They were a little kinder towards the last couple of sections. We have to go, searching for the Triforce shards and fragments or whatever. The original game really, really dragged that out. The HD version is a little more expedited, which is nice. So,
yeah. Well, if that's the case, then I guess I'll share a couple of things myself.
Go for it.
Well, he has the yellow version. I have the regular version, which is a little bit more,
No, that's the one I have. That's the one I just showed.
No, you didn't.
He's talking about you got the player's choice. He's got.
I see.
Yeah, and of course it has all the stuff in it. So, I wonder if it has anything cool, like those things that I like to show, like that little hey, get Nintendo power or something like that.
You have
it has
the
team
power.
up with Tingle.
Team up with Tingle.
Yeah, you get the cable, and you can use the Game Boy Advance to like.
Who's Tingle? Is he like the Dampy of that game?
I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Yeah, you can like it says here, after you get the Tingle tuner in the Windfall Island jail, you insert the GameCube or the GameCube Game Boy.
I have that
Advance
paper.
cable,
Yeah.
And then you can be able to like do stuff. It's like if you need a hint or if you want to like do things, you can like float around. It's like, what the hell's going on here? You can unlock secret. Yeah, man, it's pretty awesome. It's all kinds of stuff.
Team up with
I'm not saying that like it makes a difference whether you have the player's choice or not, but I was always the guy who would like I hated the getting the Game of the Year ones. I always wanted the black version.
Mm.
Like
and
getting
elitist.
Final Fantasy VII Black label is more valuable.
Yeah.
Also, just to add on top of that,
if someone
you've already pulled that out,
if
you were able to get it, you would get one of these to go with
disc,
it.
Yeah.
You had the promo disc.
I have.
You're still sealed. What?
Yeah, buddy.
Wow.
Nice.
And it's in beautiful condition. So and it includes the Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
The Wind Waker.
How much is that worth sealed?
That's got to be worth $400 or $500 probably.
I have no idea.
Probably about $400 or $500. I have one. I have one, but it's missing the disc. I think I just have the box behind me.
I have 2 versions of this, one sealed and one unsealed. That is because I used to work at a GameStop at a time. Once upon a time.
So new 187.
That's it?
This thing's 187.
Complete 80. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I went for a
geez.
lot more than that. Interesting.
Well, give it a few more, like, 10 years or something.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my extra stuff. I mean, I could show my other stuff, but that's more.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's cool. What do you got, Phoenix?
Well, these were not my original items, but since you guys went completely Wind Waker, I'm going to show these first, and I'll show you what I actually chose. So since we were all showing our games for Wind Waker, I'm going to go with the newer version. So nice shiny gold.
I don't think I have
I'll tell you,
that one. Do I have
they ruined it because they did, like, I don't know if it was the re-release or the player's choice or whatever they called it, but they got rid of the gold background and they just had, like, you know, full color artwork behind it. I think it's stupid. No, it's all about the shiny gold.
You got
front.
that from our. I almost said the location. You almost got it from. You got that from that our former store that's not around anymore.
Play and Trade.
Yeah. No.
Play and Trade is around in more than one place, Chaz. They're not going to come and dox you. It's okay. Here's what I just ran to get. I forgot I had it until I looked at all your covers.
Did you pay for it? Or did you get traded for it?
Ooh.
Oh.
Look at that.
I got my Nintendo Power. Huh?
I might have one lying around. I gotta check my Nintendo Power.
I think it's got stickers in it, unpeeled.
Oh, that's killer.
Does it? I think it's got the poster. It feels like it. Where is it?
It's like a thick middle.
Like if maybe it's just the stickers I'm feeling, unless I'm missing it. They show you how to get your own ocarina. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't looked at this in a while. I don't feel the poster. If it's in here, I'm just missing it. Oh, wait. This is it. Okay. And the poster... a little disappointing, but... better out. It's hitting my mic.
You're going to tear it? You can tear it.
Maybe.
Oh, Rayman 3.
Rayman 3.
Oh, really? Like, they couldn't put a Wind Waker poster. They had to put Rayman.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing.
God.
That's how it always was. They never put a poster for the game on the cover in that edition. It was always in, like, a follow-up edition or something. So, either way.
Disappointing.
So that's cool. Okay, here's what I actually got, and it kind of is a cop-out because it's an item in a very loose sense. So this was my ticket to the, what was it? What's it called? Symphony of the Goddess tour. I invited you. I thought it was back when I was still working with you.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, went down to the concert center, and this is why I was trying to use my cam because I got a little clip. This is not from the same, but same setup, not the exact same venue, but they had the whole orchestra down there. They played snippets from the game, so like. During the Wind Waker section. At mine, it was pretty cool because the conductor came up and made this whole big production and pulled the actual official Wind Waker baton out of a case and then conducted the whole Wind Waker section. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, they'd run through game segments and parts of the OST. And they didn't just do Wind Waker, of course. Like, I think right after this, they get into Twilight Princess. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, bunch of other random
Wow.
stuff. Yeah, there's some Twilight Princess going on, so it was a good time. I remember at mine too, some guy like proposed to his wife there, so it was a whole big like to do. So should have been me though. Should have been me.
Nerds.
Not remember you inviting me.
I thought I did. Maybe I was a bad friend. That's possible. But,
Man,
all right, that's my
I would have
stuff.
said yes. I would have been like, yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, yeah. So that was highlights for the Horde for this week, guys. If you really enjoyed this, more themed oriented way we did highlights from the Horde, please do let us know down in the comments. It would be nice to know. I mean, again, previously we kind of just felt like we were all over the place with what we were showing. So alrighty, so that was what is it, Wind Waker's 20th anniversary.
Happy birthday, happy anniversary, whatever it is.
Happy.
So we are going to move on to our speedrun news topics now.
Which there has been quite a bit of. I mean, I think we got simplified it, but there's been a lot of topics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so this one I figured you guys would like, but this one is like a 3-parter for Metroid Prime Remastered. I know everyone was kind of riding high when it got announced, and we were all kind of excited. But there's been a couple little downfalls to their physical release in certain ways. But just before we touch on the physical release, there is something else that kind of came out that some people have kind of uncovered since the game has come out. But apparently many of the developers of the original game are not too happy with the being credited in terms of the credit section of the game. So apparently in the new remastered version, I'll just read it right from here, but it says the developers who worked on Metroid Prime for the GameCube have had their names left off of the final credit scheme, and they are not thrilled about it. Apparently there's just I actually should pull that up, that image. Here it is. I actually have the image right here. Right here it says, based on the work of Metroid Prime, original Nintendo, GameCube, and Wii version development staff. So instead of everyone getting their names credited, that's literally what it just says. It just says, hey, all of you.
That is
It's like saying
super crappy.
Thanks, but no thanks.
I don't know if you guys even knew about that.
Yeah, no, I read it.
No.
It's so crappy. Like, I'm not saying that, they didn't do a lot of extra work on this remaster, but here's the thing. They could have done... the core of it was already done by all the other developers. Like, not to give them their credit where credit's due seems really crappy. Like, I don't know. I know if I had worked on the original game, I would not be happy just to... I don't know. I guess the argument is those old developers didn't touch this new game, but they still made the original art. Like, you would credit any other artist or musician or something if you covered their song or did something like that. Like, I think you should do the same thing here. Not just credit in a very vague general way like they did here. It should have been the entire list of every developer.
Yeah.
So.
Like after the people they had do it worked on a remaster, it'd be like original staff members, all the entire thing at the end.
The thing is
to do it.
I just don't understand what the reasoning behind it is. I'm assuming. I mean, I guess they would say they were trying to save time. They didn't want the credits section to run too long, but why not? It's a credit.
Like most, I'm sure even the Nintendo ones, like when you get to a credit, you can just usually skip it, either speed it up or press A to skip. And I think Metroid Dread, I was able to skip the credits on, so it's not like anybody's usually chained down to their seat having to watch all the credits. So I don't know if that's really the primary idea. I don't think it's like a royalty issue or anything. It just seems like a snub.
Could it be legalities? Maybe it's just been a long time since that team.
I feel like if it was, there wouldn't be such pushback from it, because those who could have been the credits, if there are legalities to it, I feel like they would probably be aware of what the legalities are as being included in credits, considering they've been included in credits before. So I don't think there's some weird loophole legality thing that's being avoided here. It just seems like a snub for some weird, odd reason. But I don't know. I'm not the one who made that decision, so.
Yeah, it's definitely crappy. I would also like to know whose decision was that? Was it the new developer's decision, or was it Nintendo's? It'd be kind of interesting.
Stuff like that, I feel like it usually comes from higher up. Like, I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, the developers have a fair amount of control over stuff, but I don't know. That feels like that was a Nintendo push.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably. I mean, gosh, not to put anybody else on there besides just the current team. That seems kind of mean.
And I mean, I watched a little bit of like some Let's Plays of the game, just to kind of see like how much better it looked. And it looked better, and it looks like they had added some stuff, but it's still the original game. Like, you look at it, and you're like, yep, that's Metroid Prime. So like, if the original developers didn't do their job, this game wouldn't exist, period. So to not credit them again, I don't know. Especially because back then, like Metroid Prime, although it's definitely a celebrated game at this point, it was always a little niche. And now we're kind of getting this resurgence of Metroid again. I think more people who didn't have exposure to it are starting to dig into it, and I'm sure those old developers would have liked that new kind of light added as far as like recognition that they may not have got back in the day. So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
No, I think you pretty much said it right. I mean, it's like, I don't know. You're right. It would be nice to credit them again. Who cares? Like, I don't see the negative aspect for Nintendo leaving everyone's names out. I don't know. Here, so I'm gonna real quick on the timer add another minute or so, just so I can. Do have one more part to this, but
That's cheating. It's a speed run for a reason. We gotta be faster.
All right, just the last part. Well, it's already out there. But just the second part to kind of the Metroid Prime. I don't want to say. I don't know. Amazon has reported that they have delayed most physical copies for people into April. For many people. Physical pre-orders for Metroid Prime are also currently sold out most places, including Best Buy, GameStop, Target, Walmart, and the Nintendo Store. It seems also many stores are limiting to one purchase per customer, not letting you buy multiple. And also, if you look online, apparently, I'm sure places like eBay and stuff, the scalpers, apparently the game's going for upwards of like $80 to $100 to $400. People are trying. So
ridiculous.
Many people trying to get a hold of a game when it's like, just have some patience. Wait until April.
Like, I would understand if there was no other way to play the game, then maybe there'd be that, FOMO kind of thing, but it's available right now digitally. I know you probably don't want to buy it again, but you might as well. You might as well buy the game digitally now for, it's like a $40 game, right?
Mm-hmm, 40.
And then enjoy it, play it now, and then when it comes in stock, which, let's be real, it's gonna come in stock. Like, this is not gonna be like some low print kind of deal. Like, they'll have plenty of these things. So come April, you pick it up for $40. You'll still pay the $80 that the scalpers would have charged you, but now you've got a digital and a physical release. So I can't think of any good reason somebody should go this scalping route. I don't know. It seems like people are just trying to, take advantage of a couple of poor gullible suckers. But yeah, don't rush out and get this scalped. Like, play it digital for now. You'll find it cheaper down the line.
It's not like the PS5 craze where like you had like no idea when you were going to be able to get a PS5. Right. With this, just wait till April. You're going to be able to get one. Be patient. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually they're pretty big on like how many they're put out there, so they're gonna flood the market with them. Now they're like there.
We've had plenty of hardware shortages lately, but what's the last physical game release you can think of? It's not like a limited run or something like that has been in short supply. I can't think of any.
Everyone thought that was going to be the case for that Mario Switch trilogy game, and then the next thing you know, you can't get rid of them. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. So this is not going to be a short print or anything. It's crappy that people are taking advantage of it, but April's not that far away. We're at the end of March or end of February, so I don't know. Suck it up for another month or two.
Yep, I agree. Well, there's our alert. So, I don't know. I thought that might be kind of interesting. I just thought it was interesting coming off of how excited everyone and how happy they were with the announcement, and then they just kind of fumbled a couple things afterwards.
Yeah.
Are you guys still excited to play it? Are you guys still anybody looking to play it? I probably will wait until April or May and get physical. Probably play it around then.
I'll buy the physical. Not like I already have them in all freaking media.
I think that's my thing. More than one. Yeah, we talked about this. Like, the last the Wii trilogy they put out was pretty dang good, man. The controls were really good. I'm sure this looks better and plays better in some ways, but I like to have the whole collection. I can go play all three of them right now.
Yeah.
And
that Steelbook is pretty nice. So.
Steelbook's pretty sweet. So, I don't, judge anybody wanting to have physical again. Like, I get it. This is, like, your favorite game. I know Metal and you in particular are really big in Metroid, so I get it. I was very disappointed this isn't all three. Like, I'm actually more reserved to buy it until they release all three of them, or, like, a 3-pack or a collection, which they may not do, but...
Well, they've already said they're going to re-release 2 and 3 already. It's like, oh, great. Now you're going to...
So give it a few years, there will be a collection of them, and then I'll probably buy it.
I think I read that, I don't know where, but like I think they said in prior meetings Nintendo had, it was supposed to be like a collection, and I don't know, at some point they just said somebody split it up.
And Josh at the end of the table's like, but we can make more money if we do it separately.
Everyone's in agreement. He's just like, what about more money?
Like, yeah, more money, yeah.
Taking a money gun.
Yeah.
Like in RoboCop with that one. What's the one businessman?
I buy that for $1.
Like,
right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I played it too much.
Yeah.
I played that game so much. It's ridiculous.
Alrighty, so next topic, we're going to move on to the Xbox plus Nintendo deal. Now, this is something that had already happened. We had already talked about it, but I think
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
It had just been proposed.
Well, it still hasn't happened. They haven't signed anything yet on this one. But
this is official now.
This is official. It literally says signed. Like they
I guess it does say binding contract. I guess that is pretty definitive.
Yeah.
But so basically, Microsoft has signed a 10-year contract to bring Xbox games to Nintendo consoles. The binding contract promises to drop Xbox games like Activision and Call of Duty onto Nintendo hardware at the same time that they hit consoles. Just a couple of the things that Phil Spencer had said. He said that Valve's PC-based storefront Steam would also continue getting Activision Blizzard titles. And also he said that they have signed a 10-year agreement with NVIDIA that will allow GeForce Now players to stream PC games as well as Activision Blizzard PC titles, including COD, following the acquisition. So, what do you guys think about this news? What kind of message do you think they're trying to send the people opposing this acquisition?
You go first, Metal.
Oh boy.
I think it's pretty easy. They're saying everyone's worry is that they're going to keep Call of Duty and all those Activision titles away from every other console developer, and Microsoft's over here being like, no, see, we're working with these guys.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You get a Call of Duty, and you get a Call of Duty.
Everyone gets it.
They're the Oprah of the gaming world right now.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, all right. So you gotta think. Like, do you think that the Nintendo can, their console can even handle?
This is not for the Switch.
Well, that's what I was.
This is for Switch 2. Well, they haven't said that.
Because...
But let's just be real. Like, here's the thing: this merger isn't even done yet. It's not going to go through till sometime this year, hopefully. It won't be probably when we start seeing the games, right? Like, I don't think we're going to see this really come to fruition for Nintendo for a couple of years. At least not for, I think, what people are expecting, where this Call of Duty is just like, full-fledged on the system dish. They need more power. Unless it's cloud-based.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they really need more power if they decide to want to, put COD on this thing. And it's like,
They could do a cloud thing, though, for now, though. They've done that several times already, so they could have cloud versions, which you know how well that's going to go, but they could.
I think an interesting thing to bring up would be, I mean, I guess they could do cloud, but I think it's more likely that Microsoft would dedicate one of its other development studios to make just a Nintendo Switch version. And then if you go into that route, you would have to start wondering, well, who exactly does Microsoft get to make that? Like, who would want to take on...
I don't think that's how it's going to work. I don't think they're going to have,
it's going to be a cloud version?
Well, no. Well, okay. It could be a cloud version. I don't think they're going to have a different studio to just make a whole different version. I mean, they could, outsource it and, have a
I think that's that's the cheapest route would be to outsource to a smaller studio.
But I don't think they're going to be able to do that, well. Like, the Switch at this point is so low. It was low-powered when it came out, right? And now it's competing with modern day, when I say modern day, but, PS5, Xbox X levels of power. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be able to run the newest Call of Duty, even at a lower ported resolution. Like, I just don't see it feasible. The space it's going to take up to even run the game. Like, the games right now are hundreds of gigabytes, and Switch is making you put everything on a little card. So there's some just physical limitations of that system. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do in the meantime. This is a long-term deal, though. This is really, I think, focusing on next-gen Switch stuff. I tell you what, I actually find more interesting in this than the Call of Duty.
By the time the 10-year partnership is over, the acquisition would have finally gone through at this rate.
Maybe.
So it's like...
This doesn't actually say, too, when the 10-year starts. This could be, we've signed a 10-year agreement starting in 2024. I mean, we don't know these details. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and it's in there and I'm just being dumb, but I didn't see that. What I was saying, though, what I find interesting about this, or almost more exciting, is not so much, Call of Duty is going to end up on the Switch. Xbox games. Gears of War, is that going to end up on the Switch? We're going to see some Halo on Switch too? I don't know. That's interesting. Forza, I mean, Blitz would be going crazy if he knew he could take Forza in his pocket. So I guess you kind of can with xCloud, but...
I think Microsoft...
Now that's actually...
Microsoft would throw them their crappy mascots. That Banjo knockoff game that got made. What was that character?
Here's a thought. So they've said they're going to bring Xbox games and Call of Duty to Switch. They haven't said how. And here's the thing. This could just be hey, now on the Switch you can download the Xbox,
yeah,
Cloud app.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get Game Pass on it.
That would be
So
pretty awesome. I mean,
I think that would be pretty sweet to have
that'd
a
be killer.
dedicated handheld Game Pass device. Like a lot of people use the Steam Deck for that right now. They just boot it up into Windows mode and they can go ahead and have a Game Pass device. So maybe that's the route they'll go at some level. I don't know. Interesting.
I think
have all the cloud storage and download all your games and play your games from your Xbox to your Nintendo. That would be pretty sweet.
I think once again these two announcements are just like Microsoft just being like, listen,
Shoving it in Sony's face.
Yeah, you guys, all of you that are opposing the deal, everyone thinks we're gonna, take our reward and go home, but it's like, no, we're playing good with Nintendo, and we're also playing good with GE Force now. It's like, so PC
The
players,
only person
Nintendo people.
they're not playing with is Sony because Sony refused to play. So, do you think this is the end of the Sony's case for this now, or do they still have some ground to stand on? Like, where do you think this puts this acquisition? Like, is it more sure-footed at this point, or?
I mean, I don't want to say sure about anything, but I would say I lean towards this is going to go through. I'm probably like 60-40, maybe 75-25, but I mean, I don't think it's a definitive because they've been getting a lot of pushback, and I don't know. I would say more likely than not because of stuff like this. I mean, again, Microsoft is like, they're not like going home with their prize. They're showing that they're willing to play ball. It's like, I don't.
And that's the whole argument that all these regulators have that they're bringing them to court for is like, well, you guys might keep Call of Duty exclusive, and now all Microsoft have to do is be like, here's the paper we just signed with Nintendo saying that's not what we're doing. So it's in direct, contradiction to what they're trying to accuse them of. So.
2, 1.
Woo!
Beep beep.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like that's all I had. I thought it was an interesting update.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are moving on to topic number 3 for speed run, and this is the final one. So we're gonna talk about the Sony State of Play, our reactions to some of the announcements. Just happened. Yeah, 4 or 5 hours ago. So I don't know even how you guys wanted to tackle this. I feel like it started off. I don't want to say it started off kind of weak to me, simply because it was a lot of VR oriented titles, and not only because they were VR oriented, but I felt like a lot of them looked very samey. Like the first 3 or 4 were like shooters that all looked kind of like, I think the first one I saw that I don't know. I'll let you guys take it. I don't want to drive this one.
I mean, we knew VR was going to be a focal point.
They said
just
it
released
was.
the VR.
I know.
They had to be pushing it. I'm not saying they necessarily pushed it super well. Like I don't feel like they're doing a real good job advocating for why you need the PSVR 2. Like, these games are fine. There were a couple in there I thought was interesting. That Before Your Eyes, it's not a new game. They had that. I know it's been on PC VR for a while. It's a cool idea. Like, every time you blink, like, your life progresses or the story progresses. So that's an interesting mechanic. But none of these games are like, man, I want to go out and drop $500-600 on a VR headset and play Journey to Foundation or whatever these games are. Like, I don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel about it? Like, are you at all interested in PSVR 2?
Me, not necessarily. I think price point is largely why, but I don't know. Just nothing about VR has really drawn me in, to be honest. So I don't know if I'm the correct person to ask how I feel about it.
Have you tried like the Quest?
I played yours. I played Resident Evil 4 on there, and we did the skyscraper game.
That's right.
And I thought it was fun.
What about you, Metal? You gotta drive out tomorrow and buy PSVR 2?
In order to even play that thing, I gotta buy a PS5. So
yeah, that's the catch for a lot of people.
I don't even think I even want to drop $1,100 on a system and a headset with no games, and then on top of that, I gotta
go buy the games.
Buy games, like I got one from you, which is great. I was planning to get a PS5, but that's out the door for now.
Yeah,
I saw a couple of games that looked pretty interesting. To be honest, I found this whole announcement to be really lame. I was really bored the entire time. Nintendo freaking blew it out the water. Here, I just felt that it was completely lame.
The whole State of Play.
Synapse look pretty cool. Is that the one that looked like Pistol Whip?
I'm looking
the
for.
one with
Yeah.
This one?
Yes.
The one where you shoot
Yeah,
them,
this
they
is
kind
it.
of like
This is it right here.
turn into like red and they kind of blow up.
It had the monochrome, then splashes of color.
I've got
a
it
bit
on.
of
I've got it on
super
screen.
hot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that game looked pretty cool. I was like, hey, I like that one. That one looked pretty cool, man.
It
like,
does,
I was
but
like,
here's the thing: like, it
But-
doesn't look any different than too many other VR shooters I've seen.
exactly.
I am
That's
curious
all.
how they're doing movement in this game because, like, it looks like you're running around the environment, and movement's always the trick in a VR game. So this
Mhm.
doesn't look like it's on rails, and they're clearly not doing like the teleports, or are they just using the analog stick to move around? Which I'll tell you, for a lot of people, that
I hate
is
analog
motion
stick.
sickness city, because your head does not jive with your body motion.
Yeah.
So-
When I played Half-Life Alyx, oh my god, my head. Oh god, that was awful. Like I know it's a
At least
good
that
game,
one you had the choice though to do the drag.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'd rather throw myself. Like I like to throw myself around. I don't like the Rick and Morty style.
Let me
Yeah,
try and
you almost
find.
have
There
to.
was one game I thought that looked really cool. This one looked kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the before your eyes. Every time you blink,
Mhm.
you're what the story moves. It's like walking through your life. So it's one of those tear jerker kind of things. I saw somebody play this a while back, and that's the thing. This is a cool game. It's not a new game. You can play this with any
okay.
other VR headset.
Interesting.
I don't know if you can play on the Quest, but this is not a new game for PSVR 2. And that's I think my big issue is like a lot of what they're doing is just pulling in already games are already available, right? They're not like brand new things to build up their marketplace for the VR2. The fact that it is not backwards compatible with their PSVR 1 stuff and the library that people already have is just crappy. Like, I don't care what excuse they have that the technology now is not capable. I call BS on that, because any other modern headset out there can play old games and can play the new ones. So I feel like that's just, they're trying to force you to buy something again. I don't think it's going to work for them.
Mm-hmm. There was one other game I thought that looked cool too. What was it called? Like Humanity? Like a weird.
It wasn't Naruto Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Collection? Ah.
No. There was a game
Ninja
called
Storm.
Oh, this is the Destiny. Where was that
I
Humanity
thought Chia
game?
looked pretty cool, personally. That's the one with the Wind Waker looking like kind of game, like
A little bit.
Oh, this is it right here. Yeah.
the girl
Yeah.
floating around. That one, yeah, the one with the
Yeah.
island. That looked pretty cool. I was like, hey, that looked neat.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a lighter version of Wind Waker. It had a lot of little mechanics that reminded me of it.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
it didn't like. It wasn't something I'm going to go out and buy immediately
No,
by any means. It didn't get
by
me
no
super
means.
excited.
Mhm.
It looked neat though. I agree. Humanity looked kind of cool. That was the dog game.
Yeah,
where
that's
they
the
had
one I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
of. Yeah, here it is.
Don't really know if I understand what this game is yet, because it's like a puzzle thing. It almost looks like a Lemmings kind of thing.
That's what I thought.
It's like you're following. You're trying to like
You're trying to like herd all
control
the.
yeah. Yeah, you're trying to hurt everything. That's pretty much what it is.
This was probably the most interesting one.
I thought so too. This is probably the most interesting thing I saw.
Yeah.
But even it, I've still got a lot of questions
You just
for
get
it. And
some-
it's still not like a showstopper for me by any means.
No.
See, this is something I would like to play, but I'll be honest, I'm never like the creative type. Like, I don't like making levels. I just like play whatever they have. I don't know. Creating levels is never my like my bag.
No.
Like, even in Fallout 4, I remember Phoenix got big into creating his
Oh yeah,
his town,
I made my castle base
or whatever. That was
that's
never
good.
that's never something I'm big on. I don't know why.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Blitz was here. I'm sure he'd be jumping up and down for Baldur's Gate 3 because it's
Yeah,
finally
Baldur's
becoming
Gate
a
is
thing.
fun.
But that's not a PS
That's
exclusive.
that's not a PS game, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
So-
feel like they
all
showed
over.
very good stuff from that.
Yeah.
It was
People
very
say-
just choppy. It was like cutscene, a little bit of gameplay, cutscene, a little more gameplay. So I mean, it didn't look like enough to really sell me on it. Like, I guess the thing is, like, this game's been in early access for like 2 or 3 years now. So I think the people who want to play this game have already played this game in some shape or form. So this was probably just more justification for what they already know about the game. Maybe build up some excitement that it's actually coming out soon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What about
Um,
Street Fighter 6, guys?
yeah,
Come
they
on,
showed
did
three-
You see
it
all the
looked
Zangief
cool.
nonsense?
I'm not
flexing
great at
and-
fighting games. I enjoy them for a hot minute, but I mean, it looks
Yeah.
good.
I was kind of annoyed with the Cammy costume. That's just me.
Cammy didn't look like
I hated
Cammy.
it. I hated
Yeah.
it, personally.
I gotta see her now.
It was awful.
Well, it's just, I mean, I know maybe they weren't going for her traditional revealing outfit. Maybe that
Traditional?
was the. Well,
Who doesn't like
saying.
revealing
I know.
But point being, like, she doesn't look like Cammy much. I mean, the
No.
hair a little bit. She's got the little bouncy
Eh.
cowlick kind of things, but that's about it.
And then they added like the little girl in there, which is crazy.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I thought that was interesting.
that was different. You know, It's like,
Lily,
what
I think
the-
was her name or something.
Yeah, I thought that was a different game. Like I was like, hey, look, that's cool. And all of a sudden she's like fighting like Blanca. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Stops to take a snapshot of him in the middle.
It's like, what the hell's going on here?
I imagine this will probably be pretty good. Like, most people are pretty excited about it. But I do know Street Fighter V did not go well for a lot of people, so
So this has to go good for them.
yeah.
What
Alright.
about Resident Evil 4 and the Suicide Squad?
Is
They spent so much time on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
It was so
Oh, RE4 looks pretty good.
Who is
it's
that?
hard
Is
to
that
say.
your game, right? You picked that for.
Both these next two are mine. RE4 and Suicide Squad, for better or for
Oh.
worse. Like, it looks like they've done a lot of work on this. Like, this does not. I mean, it's RE4, but it clearly has a lot of work. And this feels like a Dead Space style remake where they've really rebuilt the whole game and added some stuff to it. Because some of these like moments and like the gameplay looks and feels, or I would imagine it feels a fair amount different than the original. So,
Mm-hmm.
It looks
it looks good. Resident Evil games have been pretty solid as of late. So, assuming they just stick in that camp and use those same teams, I think it's going to be hard for them to miss on that. I mean, unless they change some really crucial stuff and just ruin the feel. I don't know, but we'll see.
And the last thing is, I skipped right through. I barely got to see much of the Suicide Squad thing. I think I kind of skipped right through it. Do you guys remember
watched
what
it.
exactly was different?
Well, I've been talking a lot. You give your opinion, because I feel like I'm going to have to defend it because it's the game I picked for the thing.
I'll be honest. He was so uninterested in the game.
Really?
This is me though. Like I don't know. I mean, I just got off like I just watched the movie like over the weekend. The second
Which one? The new
remake,
one.
The new
Okay.
one. I hated it.
The-
This is
Really?
me.
The new
I didn't-
Suicide Squad?
I didn't like it.
Oh,
That's just me though.
I liked it.
I could see how that could rub people a different way. Like,
I didn't like it. I hated it.
yeah, I liked it. I think I liked it for what I recall.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
don't know. I
Why?
watched
Why
it.
does this looks like a faster Destiny?
A little bit.
Yeah, it does.
I'll tell you, it looks like a lot. It's hard to follow. I do feel like this could be fun to play though. It's hard to say until you get your hands on it. I think the whole reason I even chose this as like one of my games, and the reason I'm so low of faith on it, it's made by Rocksteady, and they like, you could say what you want about any of the old Arkham games, including Arkham Knight. They all played really well. Like, I know Arkham Knight people didn't like the story, and they added too much Batmobile, blah blah blah, and all this other stuff, but it played good. It was a good game to actually dig into. So I'm hopeful it's gonna be the case here. The 4-player co-op actually, I think, could be pretty good. This kind of, I think, is gonna fill hopefully the niche that like Gotham Knights didn't serve. Like, it looks like hopefully a better version of that. Now, will the story be good? I don't know. Will the writing be good? Hard to say. I mean, I'm starting to kind of get into it. They had an extended scene where you fought evil Flash. Well, Flash corrupted by Brainiac. And that I thought was interesting enough. Like, they didn't dig a whole lot into it, but you had like a cameo by Wonder Woman and did some stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of digging this a little bit. I definitely think I do want to play through it. So if we can get 4 of us together and all kind of dig into the campaign, I think that could be a good time, or at least a way to evaluate it. And it could be terrible, and I lose this whole competition thing we're doing. That's fair, but I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know, man. I'm on the bottom of it
Yeah, I'm not.
None of your games have come out yet, so that's you're
Yeah, I
in
know.
a good spot. If anything, you still have hope. I've already had one of my games come out and was already disappointing. So
now. Well,
No, yours had a positive
Maybe.
score. Mine was. I don't even know what mine's at.
We have to decide how to average those, because like Hogwarts, I looked at the meta on that. The Xbox One skews it so much. It's like almost at 90, but the other ones have dropped down to like 82, 83. I don't know if we should average those. Like PC and PlayStation are low. I know what a lot of people do is they pick the platform that has the highest number of critic reviews, and that's what they base it on. So I don't know. We can figure that out later.
We're just gonna come up with a different rationale.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, every time.
Oh,
that thing's skewed too much, man. I gotta play my cards the best way I can.
Yeah, I know.
He's starting off way too good.
It's gonna hedge his bets every game.
Hey, that's how you get ahead in life. You cheat.
Sure.
Cheater.
So yeah, I'm all
so
good.
our timer didn't even work for that.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh, really? He went back like.
Well, it's because every time I switch,
have it as a video.
I have it as a video, so every time I switch screens, it resets. I'll have to fix that.
There's a setting you can do inside of OBS that I think keeps it persistent, or I can show you another way to the camera. Oh, not camera, the timer.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was our speed run topics. We're doing pretty good. We're a little over an hour. We have one more topic. That's very
the biggest
nice.
one.
Yeah, the biggest one. Granted. All right, so we're going to move on to our opinions of The Last of Us HBO's episodes 5 and 6. Before we do start, I did kind of create a little stinger for our little Last of Us chat. So here we go. I'm going to play it real quick. Here you go.
That's cute.
There we go.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So proud of you, Chaz.
It took like 15 minutes. So. Alrighty, so let me. So we're gonna move on to episode 5. So this was kind of the finale to the Sam and Henry kind of plot line.
Man,
I very much enjoyed this episode.
Oh my God, Phoenix, you were right. I was rooting for them the entire time. You said it in the last time, and you were like, "You're gonna root for them." I was like,
"Well, he did play the game. I mean, I guess he kind of."
But they weren't in the game. Not Sam, but the I always miss her name. Kathleen. Yeah, like her whole crew was not in the game.
No.
So that was just all a brand new thing. Yeah. I will say, like, I mean, I agree. You root for Henry and Will, but I felt not more on Kathleen's side. Henry, Sam. Oh man, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Will. What am I thinking of? Wrong.
It's getting late.
Yeah, man, it is getting late. Anyways, I appreciate Kathleen's stance a little better, and I don't know that her justification of the argument of, you know, Henry chose Sam's life over her brother's life. Like, how do you really balance that? Like, that was a interesting kind of dynamic that was not in the game. That was not a choice that anybody made. So, I mean, that took me a moment to kind of step back. Like, what is the right choice there? Like, saving the kid, although, I mean, I have a kid and I'm going to save a kid, but I don't know if I could justifiably say that was the right answer, especially when you have this other guy who was apparently
a paragon of, like, leadership.
Like a potential leader of a revolution, whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a whole lot of what if in there, which doesn't get you anywhere, but, you know, how do you weigh two lives? I mean, does age make the difference, or is what that person's done with their life already make the difference? So that was at least an interesting dynamic. Now, I think she went completely the wrong way about doing that, and that's what pretty much ruined her entire, you know, group, but still, it was interesting.
I remember saying I didn't like her. Still not crazy about her, but in the episode 4, I remember saying I didn't really like her. I thought she was felt like a very Saturday morning villain type character. But I do appreciate that they got rid of her quickly. But I do also like her. I feel like they built her character up a bit better in this episode. Like you said, the whole conversation she had with Pierce, which, by the way, I don't know if you know, but Pierce was the voice actor for Tommy in the video game. Yeah, which is kind of cool. But I very much liked her rationale. I thought it was a very cool scene of her saying, "My brother would say what I'm doing is wrong, and you know, I understand. I should use forgiveness, and you know, be the stronger person or something." But she's like, "That's not who I am. I'm filled with vengeance, basically." And I don't know. Part of me was just like, "Oh, okay, I kind of like you slightly more."
She was very upfront about her motivations the whole time, so at least you could take that at face value, which I guess was admirable. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the way I guess, I mean, she was just mean the entire time. But then, yeah, at the end, there's like when you finally realize, oh, that's the rational for what she's doing. Like like Phoenix said, is it right or wrong at that situation? Who's in the wrong in this case? Like,
yeah, I think what makes it interesting is like, so there's that decision, who's right or wrong, but ultimately that's not where I think the what's the way I say this, like the paragon aspect of justification comes into play. Like, you could argue all day which life it was important to save, but I think we could all agree her choice of basically just tunnel visioning in on going after Henry and ignoring everything else around her, you just see the impact that had and how that just destroyed everything, because she ignored the group underneath the hospital or the warehouse or whatever. It caused her entire group to get wiped out because she was tunnel visioned on Henry. So I don't know, at least adds that kind of contrast there. So you could argue the core decision as much as you want, but the reaction to the decision is kind of the big catch. And the other thing, I know you guys haven't played the game, this actually has a pretty big, I don't want to say ramification. It's not really ramification because it's not like it directly impacts this. It's an analog or like a comparative moment for something that happens at the very end of the game, where you kind of, regardless of correct rationale and what the correct choice should have been, you get tunneled vision and you do something based upon how you feel about something. So the fact they kind of introduced that idea now, and kind of planting that seed through Kathleen's story, I think is going to pay off in an interesting way in the couple of final episodes. So,
and I also did like how they didn't like totally fixate on the brother, the dead one. It's like, because he's not the important aspect, like yeah, he may have been like the leader of a revolution, an important character, but ultimately to Joel and their story, Joel and Ellie's story, he's not that important. So I like how they did. I just think they could have gone on and talked about, they could have dug deeper into his story and what happened within, what was it, Kansas City or whatever. But like, I don't know. I like that it kind of just.
I think it was smarter they didn't for a couple of years. Yeah. For one, for that, didn't lose focus. But two, like, what makes a martyr work in a lot of cases is you don't have a lot of justification. You don't know a lot about them, right? They stood for this symbolic thing, and then they were taken out and then sparked a revolution, right? If they had spent the whole episode, like, doing a flashback, and you get to know a lot about the brother, and you, like, learn, like, his good and bad characteristics, I think that would have lessened the impact and really lessened the choice between him versus Sam, because you have more you're trying to compare against. Leaving him as, like, this idea, this martyr, I think makes that decision a lot grayer, because we don't know anything about the guy. He could have been a terrible dude. We don't really know. So the fact they didn't dig into that and like give you that much detail, I think was really good to kind of keep things neutral for that decision.
Yeah, I just mean, like, if this was like another show, Kathleen would have lasted like two more. Like if this is Walking Dead, she wouldn't have been dealt with until the end of the season. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, no, I am glad the pace of this was taking her out quick.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping ahead to kind of the final couple of moments, is there anything you guys will mention before kind of the big ending of that episode?
I very much. Or sorry, go ahead, Gamer.
No, I thought it was really interesting that because they ignored what was going on underground for so long, that it just kind of everything just kind of happened and then just blew up in everyone's face, and it's like, oh man, well. This is what you get.
Well,
you're ignoring this for so long.
Like what you're saying about what was going on underground, I like that when you look at what happens at the end of the episode. I like that throughout the majority of this episode, they give Ellie a chance, and which one was Henry? Sam was the boy, the younger one. So I like how Sam and Ellie throughout the episode are given an opportunity to kind of be children, to kind of build up a camaraderie and kind of an understanding. And when you think they're gonna go on an adventure,
your best buddies adventuring in the zombie apocalypse,
best friend ever.
I think it's really fun how they created a nice little relationship, and it also made it like interesting how even Joel was able to kind of you see like a softer side of him when he starts. What was it, Henry? When he starts talking to Henry and he gets his story from his side of the stuff, and why should he trust him for whatever it is that he should do. But then at the end of the day, he really didn't have a choice. He was like, yeah, well, I guess you're right. You if you know the way out, then I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I also liked how Henry could kind of connect with Joel, because he was like, when he was talking with him, he's like, listen, I could have tried to make my own way out, but I could see you're a parent, and I've seen you with my own eyes, so you know how to protect someone, so I'm gonna trust you to help us get out of here when I could try it myself or something. You know what I mean? So there's some nice connective tissues going on there.
Yeah,
it's almost like seeing like a mirror image of himself, because technically, like they're kind of like almost in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
One's protecting the other and doing what they can to kind of do whatever. Even though, what's up?
No, I was gonna say, I will say, at some point you hear Henry say that someone went underground and cleared out underground. So that's my only thing, is like, so did they clear it out or did they not clear it out? Because when you see what happens towards the end of the episode,
there's a little more to the underground in the game. I don't think there was much in the way of their...
Maybe he said they only went underground and cleared that one section. That's what I'm guessing. Is whoever went underground before cleared out maybe a small snippet. And
so I'll draw a few blanks here because it's been a while since I played the game. If my recollection is correct, there actually were no like zombies underneath, or at least nothing like major. That wasn't a thing. But once again, there wasn't this whole faction they were trying to sneak away. It was just a whole different thing. But the point was, during this, I think a Fedra agent was going underground, but to assist these
the people,
refugees who were kind of living down there. Like they had and this might have been like prior to Fedra, but someone would go down there and basically take care of kids and take care of, the little group that had been living underground as a kind of like, their safe haven. And that story actually ends pretty tragic in the game. Like it's all done through like environmental storytelling, which I won't get into here, but they had a lot of nice cues to it throughout that whole little subway underground section. So I don't know.
And I did bring up something I'm seeing in my notes. I said early on in episode 5, I almost wonder if they might go the medical issue director with Joel. He seems pretty wary. And yeah.
Medical issue?
Yeah, I said I almost wonder if they go the medical issue direction with Joel. He seems pretty wary, and then the next episode you kind of see where they're going with him.
Medical issue? I'm not following you. What do you mean by medical issue?
I remember. I don't think
you didn't see him having his medical breathing.
Oh, you mean like when he had like this little head thing?
Well,
yeah.
I don't know if that's so much a medical thing.
Was that in the game?
Anxiety thing.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
I called it a panic attack. I mean, he was having a panic attack pretty much.
He's also like 50-something years old. Like I don't think it's not
he's like 60
sickness.
Almost 60.
He's old. You need to watch the little behind-the-scenes stuff at the end of the episodes because they talked about some of that.
Oh, I never watched those.
Yeah, they explained like
really
why he was like kind of short of breath. Like part of it's an anxiety thing, fear of losing Elliot. Like there's a bunch of things they were at least going for, but not medical issue from what I can tell. Now it's not a part of the game. If they end up going that route, I mean, I don't know if that'll be a good or bad thing. I don't think that's necessary, but we'll see.
And I do think something I saw someone mention on a podcast just the other day is that it very much seems as though they're trying to cushion the blow for things that may happen in from the second game. Because from what I understand in the first game, Joel was very good about using fake names, not telling people about their names, and so far in this first handful of episodes, you definitely see Joel is more open to kind of just willy-nilly telling people their names or where they're going, and I've seen some people make the argument that they're deliberately trying to make him a little less cautious for things in the next game. Because I remember a lot of people were saying that in the next game it's quite startling how easy he kind of gives himself up at the beginning of that game. Because people say, well, again, I haven't finished the first game, but most people say he was very, very cautious about like telling people who they were, what their plans were, where they were going. I don't know. I'm leaning on you. You're the one that's played him.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think back to like when I played it, if that really struck me. I mean, maybe a little bit. That was never something that really jumped out as something very odd to me. tell you what, let's hold on to that until we get to season 2.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's why I'm trying not to say too much. But.
That's fair. All right, so anyway, jumping to the end of it. So, I mean, I think we could all agree that the way it played out was pretty heart-wrenching, right?
I liked that.
Oh man, we saw it twice.
Did you? Nice.
I had to because even my wife was like, "We need to see that part again." I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "We need to rewind it." I'm like, "Okay," and we watched it. I was like, "Man, this sucks." It was good.
I liked Ellie's like childish innocence of her somehow thinking that putting her bloody hand on the foot, it's stupid. But I guess when you're trying to help somebody, I don't know. It is kind of stupid that in this world that she's been in for so long, she wouldn't have at least told Joel, "Hey,
she should have told.
Hey,
yeah.
This guy's been."
She's a kid, so it's naive. But don't get me wrong, the show played out very well, and the ending was good. I'm not trying to harp that it had to be a different way.
She should have
the game
said
did it
something.
differently.
No.
And I prefer the way the game did it. So in the game, Sam did not reveal to Ellie that he had been bit. He had either kept it to himself or didn't realize it, what have you, and they just go to sleep, and the next day wakes up and Sam's crazy, and the whole thing just plays out in an instance where the exact way she got attacked at the beginning, they stumble out, brother has to shoot him, etc. So the end result was the same, but you didn't have that moment where Ellie tried to naively help him or cure him. Like, I get what maybe they're trying to do there, make Ellie feel like that she has some role in this or some agency, or she's trying to find her purpose or worth. Like, if that's what they're going for, I get that. I think it made her character a lot dumber. And I mean, she's a kid, and Ellie does make mistakes in the game too, but that was just a big one. Not to mention that to Joel or anything. I mean, I guess he probably was thinking, okay, well, Joel's just going to shoot the kid then. That's not what she wants to see happen, but to not take any precautions and just assume that her blood was magic seems really, really off to me. I don't know. And there was just something about that moment that, I don't know, I missed the surprise. Because, like, here's the thing. We knew that Ellie was naive, but we also, at least I do, I watched the game, but I'm assuming that you guys would feel the same way. After you saw that he had been bit, you knew he was turning, right? Did you guys have any thought that all of a sudden her blood was going to be magic and he was going to be saved?
No,
absolutely not.
So I feel like that steals a little bit of that surprise or that moment, that shock. Like, you already saw it coming, and then it's kind of this slow, like, oh no kind of moment. In the game, though, it's just like, holy crap. Like, this thing just happens all of a sudden. You had no idea. You truly thought everything was perfect and hunky-dory, and then in a split second, everything's terrible.
So when I decide to play the game, you think this is kind of a ruining for that moment when I play the actual game?
Oh, this show is going to ruin the game for you.
Yeah.
Like, it is going to. Like, the show is different than the game, but the big plot points are happening. So, like, all the good stuff in the game is going to be spoiled. I don't think that means that you can't enjoy the game. Like, the game's it still feels different than the show, and they do some things different. Like, there's still environmental storytelling this show just doesn't have time to do that's in the game. So you should definitely still play the game. But yeah, these moments are going to be lost on you. But yeah, I guess that's my only issue about this ending. I really felt like the shock that you get from the game, I don't know, it hit me in the gut a lot more than this. And maybe it's because I already knew it was coming, and that just kind of reframed things already for me. But I don't know, I just didn't like that he showed it to her and the way that played out. It just kind of sucked the air out of me a little bit, instead of just like punching me in the stomach and just, being caught off guard.
I actually really like the similarities between kind of Kathleen and Henry, where yeah, he did everything for his brother, but but when she lost her brother, things have kind of ruined her. And then basically the similarity is like he lost his brother and he couldn't kind of continue on. So like they seemed as though they weren't like on similar footing, but the entire time they're basically just kind of walking the same path, pretty much, I guess. Because his whole thing was like, what was it, endure and survive, which is the name of the episode. So there is kind of like that he was like, yeah, endure and survive, but once he lost his brother, it's like he couldn't, that's not all there is, just enduring and surviving.
Well, I mean, it's not that he just lost his brother. He had to kill his brother.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
I mean,
he had to shoot him, and he did it out of he just did it. He didn't think.
Yeah, it was just, and that was like when he actually thought about it. Like so I mean, I know that's a brotherly relationship, but you think about that like your child or something. Like that's probably the closest thing I could even think of. Like, what if you had to do that to someone like your child?
Well,
like,
I think that's why they named that.
I don't
episode.
think I could go on.
I just mean I think that's why they named the episode that, is because like
you have to put up with terrible things to survive,
and he wasn't willing to when it came to like his brother. You know, like that was like the one thing. And I guess you could say the same for Kathleen. Like she was willing to throw herself, you know.
Kathleen, though, I think wanted to survive. I don't think she was trying to get herself killed. She was certainly not taking rational choices to ensure her survival by any means, but
she wanted to get vengeance the entire time. That's all. That was her entire motive.
I get what you're saying, though. I mean, I understand. I don't want to say this. I get what you're saying, that he could not endure. I don't really think that's it, though. Like, that happens so fast. Like, it's less of an endurance thing. It's just like an overwhelming thing. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong in that kind of framing of it, but that, I don't know. I don't know if that quite translates the way I'm looking at it.
From what it seemed like, when he did it, he didn't even know what he was doing. He was like, wait, what did I do? What happened? What's this? Oh my God.
It's almost like he wasn't given time to endure. Like, so many things has happened, and then when his brain triggered just what happened and what he did, that was just
couldn't deal with it. That was it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Like, yeah.
So we didn't actually.
That was a crazy ending.
We didn't actually talk about the big exciting moment. Just before that,
freaking out. Yeah. Well, we kind of did, just not explicitly.
Bloater things.
Yeah, the bloaters coming out.
Yeah.
I think it was a very easy on the eyes scene, but I think there were a lot of kind of dumb things kind of going on there. I don't know. What do you guys agree? You don't agree?
What do you mean?
Like, just kind of, or let me switch. I'm too busy messing around here. Just like, I don't know. Like, Joel's a perfect shot with a sniper rifle. Ellie's running in between like 100 zombies.
Yeah, there's some convenience there.
There's a lot of like, and then she gets stuck in the car with the thing, and it gets out somehow, and it's like, ultimately it was a good episode. So ultimately, it's whatever for me. But
I don't think you're wrong. I think what maybe kind of lessened that for me is in the game you play as Joel, and he's as good of a shot as you want him to be, right? So like when I played Joel, I was a pretty good shot. So it didn't really seem so out of place that Joel was hitting all the headshots. I'm like, I feel like I hit most of the headshots when I played the game. It felt gamey. I will say that it felt a little gamey, where you've got the person spotting you while your other character like escorts through a section. So I get the contrivance there, the convenience. I don't think it was terrible. I mean, there was a lot of commotion. Ellie's used to dipping and dodging some zombies, so I don't know. I don't disagree with you, but definitely did not detract for me.
It was still fun. It at least was fun to watch.
And we haven't had any big zombie moments in a while in this show. Like, this show has been pretty tame on the zombie aspect of the show, which, to be fair, the game wasn't even super zombie-ish all the time. It definitely had a lot of slow moments. It was more raider fights than anything else. So I liked it. It was a nice change of pace, and it definitely moved things along. It was a nice way to get rid of Kathleen without a whole bunch of dragging on, and move the story to where it needed to be. So I liked it.
Yeah, and I also like that at the end you see all the clickers and bloaters. They go running off in the opposite direction, and they're very clearly running towards the town. So it's
clearing out the town.
That town is
so Kathleen doomed the entire town.
Yeah, pretty much. She woke up the horde pretty much.
You awake of the hive.
So, gosh, is there anything about episode 5? I don't think
that's pretty much it. The only other thing I'm just curious about, and I don't know if this is going to make any difference for you guys not playing the game. In the game, Sam was not deaf.
I heard about that. Yeah.
That was something that they mentioned at the end when you watch it. That was a choice that they made.
Yeah.
Because I guess they just wanted to try something with that. I forgot.
I think they wanted to make it seem like Sam was more dependent on Henry, which, okay. I liked it. I didn't think it
worked well.
Yeah, I didn't think it detracted from anything. It did add a different dynamic to the character that I don't think really hurt anything.
It almost made him seem a little more helpless, which is nice, I guess.
Yeah, he was pretty helpless in the game, though. I mean, you got this kid. He was like 6, 7, something like that. He was going to be helpless and depending on Henry regardless. So, I don't know. I don't dislike it. I was curious if you guys had any thoughts about that at all.
Thought it was fun.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, I thought it was really interesting that they chose that route.
I thought it did make me pay a lot more attention to when Sam decided to communicate anything. Like, because he had to stop, slow down, he had to write it out, and it was a moment where there was like, it really slowed down the interactions with him and kind of made him a little more succinct at the same time, which that was kind of nice. And you then did have that nice or gut-wrenching moment at the end where she writes, I'm sorry on his pad and lays it by. So that's a moment that was kind of created because of that change, which I think, had some impact.
No. And I guess just the last thing is I did see in like one of the post video things is they did say that like in that scene where all the bloaters and zombies are coming out of the ground, apparently they said most of those were like actual people and actual costumes, and it's like I don't know.
Did you see the behind the scenes? Because they showed them.
No, I know they showed them, but when you actually watch it, most of it looks like CGI. That was just from the eye.
Sped up stuff, and there is some post-production there, but because I remember watching like the reel where they were showing him climbing out of the hole or whatever,
they just speed it up,
and then when you saw them, they were a lot faster. So clearly there was some editing done there, some post-production, but I think a lot of it was people. I'm not saying they didn't have some
they showed
CG
video
in there
of the bloater guy getting into costume, but man, when you watched it live, it just looked like CGI. So I don't know, possibly could have been wasted. I don't know.
I don't know if it was CGI. Here's the thing. Even if it was CGI, the whole thing read really good to me. Nothing about it looked overly fakey. Like, I didn't say, like, oh, that's definitely a CGI, whatever. Like, it all looked good to me. So, even if it had been CGI, I'd still be praising it for being excellent CGI. The fact that it has a human or practical effect or element to it, I think almost encourages, like, or should state, like, you know what, they should do that more often. It should be less CGI.
And ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, it was fun to watch, so whatever. It's probably not a point.
If it was CGI, it was a heck of a lot better than Ant-Man that we just saw.
Oh boy.
We won't mention his name.
MODOK. I already did it.
It's not MODOK. It's Darren.
Alright, so episode 6.
Episode 6. Yeah.
Let's go on.
Yeah, so moving on. This one I felt like wasn't as good as the previous one. This one wasn't bad. I still enjoyed this one. But
it was slower.
It was much slower. There's much more communication. Boo. Nobody likes dialogue.
This episode, though, had what many who play the game would argue is like one of the biggest moments in the whole game. So that moment where Joel almost leaves Ellie, like that's a big moment in the game. Like, and it hits. I'll tell you, it hit differently in the game than it did in the show. I'm not even too sure why. I almost feel like I need to go back and play the game to understand the context there. But yeah, that moment. I mean, it was still done very well in the show, but it hit a little differently. Maybe because I knew it was coming. I don't know. I felt like they crammed a lot into this episode. Like, it was slower, but this was like, I was worried that they weren't going to be able to finish the whole game in one season. They crammed like 2 or 3 major things into this one episode. Like, in the game, they stretched out the whole Tommy's Village thing a lot longer, where I think there was like, you had to do a side section where you had to get like a generator up and running, if I recall, and you had to go to the dam and do all this other nonsense. So they skipped all that completely. They just kind of hit on, hey, we found Tommy, and then they moved on to the university, which that was a much bigger thing too in the game. There was a lot more time spent there. So they hit like 2 or 3 big plot points to really kind of progress the story along, which I thought they handled pretty well for squeezing in a lot of stuff into this one episode to set up the last couple of episodes.
If that was the case, then man, I would have never noticed it, because there was a lot going on, but I didn't know there was that many plot points involved from the game.
And to be fair, a lot of it was like probably gameplay elements more than anything else. Like the stuff we had to go to the dam generator stuff, it was very gamey. Oh no, we got raiders popping out behind the generator. Take them out, boom, 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 kind of thing. So it wasn't like an interesting, plot development necessarily. So I definitely see why they cut that. I guess it didn't really cross my mind that would have got cut, but they cut other gameplay like elements in this show already. So I thought it was a good choice. And the fact they made it all the way to the end of the university, I think it's big. 'Cause I think now there's enough room they can probably finish off this show within one season. So
I love the very beginning episode where they're talking to that, fun couple. They're living in the cabin. I like that couple. They were very entertaining. They're kind of just living their best life.
Indian, the Native American couple, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Just living life out there.
Dude, the lady is hilarious.
She was funny.
He's like, "Did you make them breakfast or something?" She's like,
"Yeah,
yeah." She was awesome.
There's also a girl. Another thing I had here is I very much appreciate. It's very like a good character building aspect of Joel. Is I love his constant futile attempts to shelter Ellie from certain things. Like there's a specific part in here where she asks to take a swig of his alcohol, and he's like, no, you can't. And then he's like, oh yeah. He always does something like that, and then he's like, "Oh, I live in a terrible world. Sure, go ahead." You know what I mean?
Yeah, we gotta say, and I would imagine, like, even though it's been 20 years, he was raised in our regular society kind of thing. So like a kid drinking's like this terrible thing, and now you're looking at this perspective like, what does it matter anymore? So,
he does that a lot, where he's like, "You shouldn't be doing this," and then he thinks, and he's like, "Well, what the heck?"
Well, because he got put back into dad mode, and that's the whole point. Like, he's no longer just surviving this apocalypse; he's back to being a father. So all those old tropes of how he used to raise his daughter back, 20 years ago,
they don't apply.
Are flooding back, and he's like, "I gotta protect this girl. All the things I tried to protect my girl from doing, I'm trying to help this girl not do." And he's slowly realizing that's not his daughter, but at the same time taking her on as kind of another surrogate daughter. So,
and that very much fits into why he was like wanting to leave her too, because he's like, I failed, like what makes her think I'm gonna succeed here, like because I failed with Sarah, and then I failed with what's his girlfriend's name, Tess. Yeah
Well, he failed, but it's also very much he's protecting himself, right? Like, he doesn't want to go through the heartache of losing her again. So if he can just step away from it, it's almost less about protecting her. I think, I'm sure that's part of it. He doesn't think he's good enough, but he doesn't think he can withstand seeing her get killed, which he probably couldn't. I mean, to be fair, as a father, like, I can't imagine losing my daughter, and to experience that event twice, I can't see how you go on after that. So,
and then it also makes sense that him and Tommy have that like really emotional scene, because he talks about how he froze again when they were stopped by Tommy's comrades outside of the building or the encampment or whatever. And that was a really interesting like back and forth between him and Tommy, where they were talking about Tommy being his like pseudo paradise pretty much, and he's talking about how like, well, life ended for, or life what does he say? It's life stopped.
Life ended for you.
It stopped for you.
Stop for me.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know, very emotional. I think Pedro Pascal is just so good.
He's a great Joel. I mean, I wasn't too
find
nervous
that
about it.
surprising. I knew he was good, but like he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any hesitations when I heard they cast him. Like, I mean, you take a moment just to kind of try to picture him, but he's done such a good job in everything I've seen him in. And it's been very diverse roles already that, I don't know. And then when I saw him dressed up like Joel, I'm like, yep, that's going to work. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else really big about, like, this episode. I don't think there's anything too, like, jarring or crazy that happened.
Ellie learning about Sarah for me was kind of an interesting event.
That was another big one. Yeah,
Ellie kind of, because she's like, "Oh, I saw your kids' names up on the wall," and Tommy's wife is like, "Oh yeah, that's Sarah, Joe's daughter," or something. She's like, "Oh, you didn't know about that."
Yeah,
definitely interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why that moment, like in the game, is such a big deal, because you're waiting for that the whole time of the game, right? For Ellie to realize she's kind of like Joel's new daughter, and for that to click to realize that Joel had a daughter and lost the daughter, like, and then the whole kind of reaction they have in the bedroom where she tries to talk about his daughter, he's like, nope, not doing that. So yeah, it definitely, I think, added a lot of emotional gut punch to that moment, and they did it well. I think the game still hit a little better, maybe just because it was the first time that moment happened for me, but it was still handled really good here in the show.
And I also find it interesting. There's like I've only got a few. I had much less notes on this episode. Like, don't get me wrong, there was still super impactful stuff, but
slower.
They're slower. I also liked how Ellie's going to the movies, doing something she's probably never done in her life, but still she would rather be over snooping in on Joel and Tommy, trying to get the lowdown on what's going on over there. Yeah. I mean, feel free to step in. I'm just reading off all my notes that I had that I thought was interesting. I love the scene of them walking, and who was it? Somebody blurted out as they were kind of telling them how the settlement worked. They're like, "Oh yeah, like communists or something," and someone's like, "No," and then they're like, "Yeah, I guess." I thought it was funny. And the only thing I had left was I loved how quickly Ellie chose Joel when he was like, "All right, I'm going to give you the option. You go with me," and she's like, "Okay." Throws the bag at him. She's like, "All right, I'm going with you." Which,
well, I mean,
I get the.
That's not wrong.
It is kind of wrong though. I mean, I get it. You like Joel, but the safest place would be in the encampment with 100, 200 people. I mean,
oh, she was never going to stay though. That was never the option.
Oh, okay.
The option was either Joel's going to take you to the Firefly camp, or Tommy's going to take you to the Firefly camp. Tommy was about to take her.
Yeah, obviously she chose him because she's been traveling with him the entire time.
Yeah.
She trusts him.
I get that decision. I get that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, would you trust a random stranger even though it's the guy's brother? Really? The guy doesn't want to go anyway. He even said it. He's like, I have a family here. I'm not going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And Joel just took that the wrong way, thinking that's like, oh, well, I don't want to do it.
I get it. I totally took it as though, you either go with... Our journey ends here and you stay here and be safe, and Joel's going to leave her. I don't know. I took it the wrong way.
Fair enough.
She seems to like that crazy-ass adventure.
So, you don't have to say it, but do they say where the technological group left to or whatever? Because they ditched the school, or is that kind of a drop?
They find them.
Does what I think happen with that, or well, I guess I'll get my answers.
I think yes, but yeah, we're not quite there. The only other thing I was kind of then waiting for in this game, they did a little, or not a game of the show, they did a little different in the game. So I knew Joel gets jacked up at the end of the at that episode, at the end of the university, and I was curious how they were going to do it, because in the game it's more brutal than what happened in this. I mean, I appreciate how they did it in this. I think it probably played better, where he got stabbed with the end of the baseball bat. In the game, there was this huge firefight inside of the university, and Joel's up on the second floor, shooting out the front door, and then he slips or gets knocked down, falls to his glass banister, and then lands on a rebar, just sticking right up and impales him right through the back. So I thought he was done in the game. It looked so much worse than anything he could recover from, and then it cuts to Ellie trying to nurse him back to health afterwards. So I think this is more realistic. I don't know how they could have played the whole fall off a 2-story building into a rebar and make that work out well, but I was curious. I was interested how they're going to play it out, and I think they did. Well,
at least the baseball bat doesn't go completely all the way through him. That's
it's more it was always,
really
and then I had to think I'm trying to remember in the game. I think they do get him off the rebar. Man, I'm trying to recall that. It was a lot more intense in the game and a little more traumatic. But I like the way they did it here. It still has the same kind of impact. Clearly Joel's messed up now, but I think where this goes, it's a little more realistic that he recovers. Spoiler, but
well, yeah, of course.
But yeah, I mean, that was episode 6. I think someone had mentioned there's 9 episodes. I don't know if it was somebody here.
That was our last podcast episode. Someone in our chat said that.
And prior to watching these last few episodes, I'm like, there's no way they can get through this game in 9 episodes. I think they can do it now. I can only think of 3 big things that have to happen. And there's 3 more episodes. So assuming at least one of those is probably... Yeah. So I think they're on course pretty much to finish up the first season, which that makes it interesting jumping ahead, because they already greenlit season 2. Initially, I was curious if season 2 would just be the second half of the first game, but clearly season 2 is going to be part 2 of the game, and that's going to bring with it a lot of drama. So now I'm a lot more intrigued to think about how that's going to play out. Were you in the realm of kind of keeping an eye on any of that nonsense going on, Metal, when Last of Us Part 2 dropped and all the stuff with Abby and blah 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 was going on?
I was all about it.
I know Chaz was.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
All right, that's probably good then. So
Yeah, it's
keep
good.
it that way, because I want to know your kind of unspoiled perspective when the show starts. Because,
Yeah. Okay.
man, people had some very toxic takes to Last of Us Part 2. I did not take that same stance. I think, Chaz, you were a little more negative about it watching your Let's Play, but we don't have to dig too much into it now. I know
Yeah,
that's looking
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was. Again, the internet. I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't. I don't know. I didn't think it was very good. It was like middling. I was just like, that's it. I guess it's kind of interesting what they're doing. Yeah, we don't have to get far into it.
Well, I'm just saying, knowing now that that is definitely where season 2's got to go, I'm interested more so than, because I think I was gonna be really disappointed if this first season just ended midway through the first game and I had to wait a whole another season just to see the ending of the first game.
I mean,
so.
don't get me wrong. I'm still not interested if that's where they're gonna go. Like, I didn't think it was that good. I mean, it was.
I think they could play it well. I don't know. There is part 2 is a much bigger game, and not necessarily in a good way. So there's a lot of bloat. So either A, they split it into season 2 and a season 3, because technically part 2, the game, is, I'd say, 2 seasons worth of stuff.
It
And
didn't
I'm not
even
sure
end. It didn't even end. Like, it kind of left a cliffhanger.
Yeah, because there's gonna be a Last of Us Part 3. Like there's another end to this, but anyway, we're going way down a rabbit hole that we don't need to go to yet. Both episodes were good. This show has turned out really well. Like, I would say there's very few other video game adaptions of anything that have been this true to the source material, but also taken the right changes where needed. To be fair, I mean, I don't want to say they had an easy job, but Last of Us was already a movie. Like, before they ever tried to translate to a show or anything, the game was a cinematic, episodic movie, essentially, as you played through it. So they already had good bones there to translate over, but they're sticking the landing from what I can tell.
What I like in a good TV show is if each episode feels weighted and it feels like it has a purpose. And so far, I would say there may be one mediocre episode so far. And I like that most of the episodes feel most of the episodes feel as though there's a purpose, which is nice.
Yeah.
It is still very
there
early.
hasn't been much bloat. Like, what would you say is the mediocre episode? The last one where Kathleen was introduced?
It would be between that or maybe episode 2. I would say that one. I would say probably
what
5.
happened in 2 again?
2 was the test episode.
Oh, well, that was a big deal, though.
So? That was a good one.
I would say episode 5 is probably the one that was just like, I wasn't super digging it, but I liked how it concluded.
5, the one with Will and Henry? No,
Yeah.
I keep saying Will. Goodness, Henry and Sam. Why am I thinking
Sam
Will?
and Henry.
Henry and Sam?
Yes, that episode for me was kind of, it was still good. I still liked it.
I thought it was pretty good. I thought every episode so far has been really well spaced out. Like,
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying there's been a bad.
to keep you going.
I'm not saying there's been
I
a
think-
bad episode. I mean, there hasn't.
If
in my
anything,
opinion.
which is the one that was the shortest episode?
That was
one
2.
Really,
2 was the.
that was 2.
Yeah, that was
That
test.
one left me at a cliffhanger, but that wasn't a bad episode at all. Like,
No, I agree.
I think. I mean, I like episode 3 for me was good. I just think that one was the most tame out of all of them.
I'm curious
And that's
if
the one with
2 would have felt different, because episode 1 was like extended, right? They had the whole flashback stuff, or kind of the origin or start of the whatnot, and then they had a section where they were also in the apocalypse already. Like, I'm curious if 2 would have landed different if episode 1 would have ended at Sarah's death. Like, it went all the way up to that point, and then episode 2 started with Joel 20 years in the future.
Would have been a lot shorter.
No.
Because that would have balanced the episodes time-wise a little bit better. I'm curious if maybe that was their original thought, and they felt like they needed to add more to the first one to make it more impactful. I don't know. Episode 1, I tell you, even though I really liked for obvious reasons, it did feel long, and I feel like it dragged a little bit, especially towards the end. So I'm curious if maybe going back, if that would have been a better direction, maybe. Like,
I really
cut it
enjoyed
off right at
episode
Sarah.
1. I think it's one of my more favorite episodes.
I expected all the episodes to be just as long as that one, and it wasn't.
I'm curious if that would have made episode 2 feel better too, because it would have had a lot more meat then that you kind of got at the end of episode 1.
Oh, no,
if that
no.
would have
I'm
been...
getting my episodes wrong. I think 4 is the one I think I didn't like. The one that was the intro to Kathleen, Sam, and Henry. That's
Okay.
4. So 4 and 2 are the weaker ones, I thought. But
Okay.
definitely the better ones to me are 1, 3, and 5. Those are probably
all the odd numbers, huh?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. Who's the director? Who's the director of each episode? I bet you. It's
Well, that just means the next episode you're gonna love because it's an odd. So.
Ooh.
That was dumb.
It really, all three of these next episodes, big
Probably
things
super important.
gonna
Each
happen.
one.
Yeah, I mean, depending where they stop the next one might be a little slow. The one after that's big. The one after that's really big. So there's a lot to cover and a lot of good. Well, I say good stuff. Very tragic, heartbreaking stuff upcoming. But that's what makes good television, right?
Yep.
Alrighty, everyone. Well, that was our chat for the newest 2 episodes of The Last of Us. Feel free next episode, and we of course will talk about what. So it means 7, 8, and then we'll have 1 episode for the
Big finale.
Yeah, big finale to talk about.
Maybe we can try to do that one because that one's going to come a little quicker. We'd have to wait an extra week after the finale to talk about
We
it.
could try and do the same thing we did with Ant-Man, maybe.
Yeah, either there's a focused episode on that or a little bit quicker. We'll see. What week is that going to put us at? What's like the calendar? I'm trying to look ahead. I am out of town a couple of weeks. To see inside.
So we might have to
So
let
that
them
would
know,
be
too.
26. 20. That would.
That's the 12th, right? Would
It's
be
like
the last
12th.
episode, the 12th.
Yes.
I might be able to do it. I think I can make that work. So if we do it like right after, if I do that Monday,
Monday
13th,
or Tuesday.
I guess I'll be down there. So.
Oh, you will?
I got a show.
We
I
could
got
do a
a show.
live.
Oh, we could do a
everybody
live.
together.
Yeah, a live chat.
I got a show on the 11th. So, yeah, I'll be hanging around. So
That works. We
I'll
can
be
do an
able to join you guys
in-person chat on it.
We'll figure it out.
live. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, yeah, down in the comments, of course, we'd like to hear what you guys thought about the last 2 episodes. What have you thought about the show? Any questions you might have. We'd love to hear how excited you are for the last 3 episodes. Yeah, that was this week's Enter ChazmaN podcast. That was episode 29. We're 1 away from 30. Next one will be the big 3-0. So yeah, what do you guys have?
That's a lot.
Yeah, what do you guys have going on before next episode? Playing anything? Getting into anything? More Marvel Snap?
That's probably what we play. I'm going to be actually in San Antonio for a conference for about a week. So,
Ooh.
yeah, exciting. Ooh. It's less exciting than
I'm going to try and finish Hogwarts Legacy. I actually have a mini stay-home vacation coming up at the beginning of March. So I'll have 4 days of nothing. I definitely want to get in Atomic Heart at some point. Move on to that.
I've been hearing a lot of
iffy.
up and down
Some people
that,
saying they
yeah.
really like it, some not. I saw Skill Up had said you should skip this game, and I was like, what? I was like,
I'll tell you that I love Skillup's reviews. I don't always agree with it though. Like, what I appreciate about Skill Up is I can really understand his viewpoint, why he feels a certain way, and it also helps me frame. Okay, well I know I don't feel that way, so I'm gonna maybe enjoy something he doesn't. So I just like his style of review.
No,
it always
I agree.
feels very honest. Yeah.
there are a lot of times when like I agree with something he says, and then at the end his conclusion, I'm like, I don't think so. Yeah, that's happened a few times.
But either way.
Cool.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to figure out, our theming for next episode as well. We'll communicate about it. But yeah,
Oh, for the Horde.
yeah, some other things.
Yeah.
But you guys got anything to say before we take off?
No, it's late again. So good night.
Under 2 hours. Under 2 hours.
Well, I'm the first.
I know.
Might be.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We love you, and we will see you again. Nighty night. Bye bye.
Yeah.